You are entering the world of Master Shaman PaLiChee with PaLiChee Healing. We discuss here the universe, enlightened shamanism, and our world, informing the misinformed. Warmest blessings, everyone. This is Master Shaman PaLiChee coming to you live. If you are new to the channel, welcome, and if you haven't already, go and like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and if you are on Facebook or you have an account on Facebook, go and share this to your Facebook now, so whoever that needs to hear this today can hear it, okay? Again, warmest blessings to the benevolent collective that has been loyal and watching us and following us and sharing and doing all the things that you are doing to help pay it forward. Joining us today as well. So welcome. If you haven't already, again, go and do what is totally free to do so, is to like, subscribe, and follow. Click on the notification bell as well. So a little bit about me for those of you that are new to the channel. I have been on the spiritual journey and have been a shaman for years now. I started at the age of 2 in my spiritual journey and going through ethereal phenomenon, unexplainable shamanic illnesses, NDEs, paranormal encounters as well, and just a ton of life situations as well that has brought me here today. We've helped thousands of people uncover their innate gifts and abilities as well, and we hope to do so for you as you follow along with our content. We've helped also people through shamanic healings and to getting them through their transformational trauma and karma healing as well. So follow along and with the content that we have, that is going to inform you of whatever it is that you may have heard of somewhere else, and maybe it will be different here, okay? In the aspect of my shamanic aspect, of course, and through the channelings of my spiritual guides and wisdom. Today we will discuss shamanic illnesses and give 3 Zodiac collective readings as well. If you want to dial in and talk to me, Master Shaman PaLiChee, then I am free for you to call in and talk when the line is open. I'm going to be doing the Zodiac readings. If you want to call in then and maybe wait till I get to a stopping point, that would be great. The line is actually, the phone number is 763-319-8377, and you can find that on the right chat bar or in the description below. Anything that you need from me, whether it's a personal private session or from my independent shamanic practitioners as well. We have 2 of those, 2 shamanic practitioners that are independent with PaLiChee Healing as well. And you can book sessions with myself or them. Just go on to www.palicheehealing.com. It's also on the screen. So before I go into anything else, take a moment with me to breathe, calm, and collect yourselves with me before I dive into the Zodiac sign readings today. And then we'll go into shamanic illnesses afterwards. Take a deep breath now. Calming in, and in. Some good energies flowing in now from the universe to all that is watching, to all now. Warm energies flowing through now. Slightly pink and gold energies now coming in. Deep breath, deep breath. And all I ask is for respect and, of course, coming on to the show here, asking your questions that you need to ask and be appropriate about it. Okay, let's dive into the first reading here. Today we have our readings here. So we are going to be doing Aries, Taurus. Write this down before I forget. Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. So Aries collective, are you ready? Aries, Taurus, and Gemini today. If you have questions about your reading, you can definitely call in or type it down on the chat. Wherever you can get my attention, you can do so, okay? I'm going to... Aries Collective, this is going to be for you. Reading right off here. Going to be pulling up my regular deck of cards here. I also call it the Ancient Tarot cards. Okay, the Ancient Tarot cards. Aries Collective, listen in here. First card being pulled for Aries Collective. We've got the Four of Hearts for Aries Collective. Four of Hearts. There is some goodwill that may need to be revisited or visited for Aries Collective at this time. Perhaps you need to go and do some kind of a volunteer goodwill or good Samaritan type of activities, Aries Collective. There seems to be some kind of need to pay it forward for you. And you can tell me, yeah, I've been paying it forward, Master PaLiChee, but it feels like this is a good time to do so if you haven't already. We also get the Three of Cups for Aries Collective. Three of Cups right here for Aries Collective. This Three of Cups, and I'm going to pull up some more cards and then we'll go at it. But I know that right now, Aries Collective, you guys are going through sort of like a little bit of a downtime. It's not highly positive, but it's not also way down where you're in the dumps. You're sort of on a scale of 0 to 10, you're at about a positive 4 right now, Aries Collective. We also get the Eight of Cups, or the Eight of Swords here. Sorry about that. Eight of Swords, feeling like you're wrapped and covered and blinded. So there needs to be some kind of building yourself again, building your energy again, building your trust again. And that's trust with the universe, that is. Trust that you can believe in yourself, Aries Collective, okay? For Aries Collective, you are going through the cycles and the rhythm, so you're going through a roller coaster right now. Honoring the cycles of the body, the mind, the spirit, honoring whatever it is that you're going through mentally and emotionally right now is one of the keys. If you can honor this instead of being afraid of it or fearful of it, then it's going to do you help rather than harm, Aries Collective. And then there's going to be a time for you, okay, where you can also, in the near future here, maybe within the next week or so, where you're going to be able to celebrate a little bit. And it's not about celebrating something huge, Aries Collective, but it's about being able to celebrate those tiny steps that you're going to be taking. And if you can just embody yourself in a good energy right now, in a positive light, then negative, okay? So positive, then negative, then you're going to be celebrating within the next, I would say the next couple of days out into the weekend. However, your body, your mind, your soul is going to be feeling it. So you're going to be feeling like as if you can't express yourself to anybody. You're not able to allow yourself to just say what you want to say at this point in time. It feels like you're almost, it's almost an internal conversation that you may be having, and you'll want to shift the gears, okay? Shift the gears, Aries Collective, to go back, do some voluntary work, and this can be voluntary for a nonprofit. It can go as big as that, or it could be a voluntary work for friends and family, or perhaps it's voluntary work just for yourself. You're willing to do something, a couple of action items to show yourself that you are building this momentum to try to get from ground, from a 0 to 10, you're at about a positive 3, 4. So going from a 3, 4 to like at least a 5, 6 in positivity. That's all that you need to do right now, Aries. The question also begs that, or I should say it begs the question that if you're going through a spiritual dynamic right now, so a spiritual kind of a situation, and you maybe you don't even know that it's spiritual. Perhaps it's just showing you that you are seeing numbers, or perhaps it's showing you that you have the urge, or you're feeling the urge to do something, to start a business, to, go talk to that person that you need to talk to. Perhaps it's showing this, and perhaps you're not taking that action. Well, doing something in the momentum, starting a momentum process or progress is going to help you take the action. I know it feels down right now, Aries Collective. Okay, we got the 9 of Clover. 9 of Clover tells me also that you're very reluctant to doing that. Perhaps it's something that you're fighting or resisting against. And I want to tell you that the more you resist, Aries Collective, the more it's going to be tougher for you to get out of your internal talk, okay? You have to start talking now, not arguing, but talking, right? Talking out loud, perhaps communicating what you are feeling, so that it can come across in a way where the person can receive it in a way that that you want them to receive it, not in the other way where you didn't want them to hear it in that way, right? In a negative way. So right now it's about expression, it's about communicating. But first, before you go there, go and take some time out to believe in the cycles and rhythms, to actually honor them, honor the cycles and rhythms of your body, so that you can actually be able to express yourself in the way that you should, in the way that you want them, the other person. This is like relationship wise, right? With this relationship area, to speak to them, whether it's your family member relationship or it's your love relationship. It's about you trying to come off in a way where you want them to understand you. And I feel like there's something there. People has not been understanding you in a way that you want them to, and now it's time for you to start from 0, right? Maybe not quite 0, but maybe from a 3. From a 3. That was for Aries Collective. All right, shuffling the cards here. And we are going to go to Taurus. Taurus, you are up next. Your Zodiac Collective reading is coming up next, Taurus. For those of you that are watching, type down in the comments or on the side chat bar where you are watching from. Where are you watching from? Everyone that is watching, I know that when I go into these readings, I can get very focused in it. So I will forget to say this, but if you are watching from wherever, please type it down and be interactive. Yay, we got Noria 8515 from Minnesota. West Loic from Chicagoland. Warmest blessings. Noria says here, before I go to the next reading, I want to share this. My husband is an Aries, and yeah, he definitely needs to talk more on what is on his mind. For sure, Noria, for sure. Okay, so here we go for Taurus. Taurus Collective, this is for you. Taurus Collective, listen up. If you know a Taurus, then come in and chime in if you are a Taurus. If you want to call in, you can catch me. And please be polite about it, but catch me in between the readings if you want. We can do that as well. All right. So, Taurus, listen up. Listen up, Taurus. We've got the 9 of spades for you. 9 of spades. We also got the 9 of swords for Taurus. Wow. Lots of 9s. Lots of 9s. Shuffling my other cards here. Taurus Collective, right off the bat, what I'm feeling about you right now, the sense is that it's really hard right now. You're in a stuck mode, like in a crossroads, and feeling about on a 0 to 10, you're at about a -8. -8, Taurus Collective. Now, not every Taurus is going to feel this, but most Tauruses will be feeling this. It's a sense of feeling down, and it's really feeling down about yourself, about what you can do about your career. What can you do about your career, Taurus Collective? What can you do about your career? What is this thing that is frustrating you, Taurus Collective? It seems that you've been stuck for at least a couple of weeks here. That's the minimum. And you haven't been able to get yourself back up. You're kind of like in a meditation mode or like a contemplation mode. And it feels like maybe you feel as though you've disappointed somebody else in your life. This could be parents, a lover, a partner, somebody. You've disappointed someone in your life, Taurus Collective. I want to tell you right now that even though it may feel as though this happened, and you may have done that as well. So likely some of you Tauruses out there may have actually disappointed a partner, a friend, or family member, and even yourself. But you need to get yourself back up and look at this as a karmic learning lesson. A karmic learning lesson was upon you, and now you've gone through the lesson, but you are trying to seek some kind of a justice, right? Some kind of a justice, and asking the universe, please help me please help me see this justice. Please have this righteousness come to me. But others may see you as, oh, you're a disappointment. You've done wrong, right? So Taurus, you need to come back and gain trust. You need to come back and work on someone gaining trust for you, whether they have miscommunicated something or they have misunderstood something, or maybe you had misunderstood something. Somewhere along the line, there is something there that wasn't clear, okay? It was not clear. So you need to come back, Taurus Collective, and you need to find this part of you that you had lost, I'd say, let's see, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, about 4 years ago, 22, 21 was when it started to get lost. I'm going to go back a little bit for Taurus, okay? So it started to get lost back in about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago for some of you, Taurus Collective. And so that losing yourself at that time, you were trying to also find yourself. So some of you don't want to admit that you lost yourself, but you are now have been trying to find yourself again. And it's been really tough because some of you are not willing to ask for help. And when you did ask for help, you are also in denial of that help. Now, some of you may have grabbed the help and just took it with you, right? And you just ran off with the help, and it was great. But for other Taurus Collective, you may have not actually really received that blessing. Even though the blessing came, it wasn't well received. So instead, it may have been miscommunicated. So Taurus Collective, 9 of Swords is the card that comes for you, okay? Others may have been disappointed. You may have been disappointed, but now you're asking for some kind of clarification, asking for some kind of help, because you're almost at this, like, I don't want to say end time or at the edge, but you're getting close to that area. And I feel like you're scared. You're scared, Taurus Collective. But I want to tell you as well that if you work on it, if you allow yourself to embrace the truth, if you allow yourself to know that, okay, this may be the truth, but I want to shift it because I don't want that to be the truth. Even though it may be the truth, I'm going to go back and I'm going to fix this. I'm going to improve myself. Anything can be possible, Taurus Collective. I want you to know that. It's not the end of the world, but it's also not for you to hide away or to, go and dream away or to ask the universe and then not really do what the universe is also telling you to do, right? So go and fix that piece of the puzzle or that situation up, Taurus. Also, at the end of the day, you may start to get positivity flowing back into your life again. It will come back, but once you start to clarify who you are, once you start to clarify what you really want, And if you want it, you have to pretty much work for it right now, Taurus Collective. You can't sit there. You can't just wait for the day to come, because it won't come, Taurus Collective. You need to actually reach out. You need to actually say the right, things, and not just, anything that you want out of your mind, right? Anything that maybe had caused you to feel angry or confused or super frustrated towards your partner. And this is going towards your partner, Taurus Collective. If you were to work on yourself, Taurus Collective, I know some of you have been and some of you will, but working on yourself doesn't mean that you do this thing here and that thing there and then all of a sudden you just sit again. You actually have to be consistent and constant, at least for a good couple years, right? You got to be able to do this and break the habits of many years, Taurus Collective. So you want to, if you want that Ace of Cups, because it's coming, but it's not just coming, right? You've got to work for it. It comes out in the cards as a potential reward, okay? A potential reward, a potential happening in your life in the future, if you are bold enough, if you can be bold enough, right? If you can be there and present as well, because also you've been trying to be present, but then there's a part of you that wants to go out and explore. It wants to keep going. It wants to keep, flying out there instead of coming back to the self, coming back to be present and working on what needs to be worked on. At the end of the day, Taurus Collective, I also get the King of Hearts for you. The King of Hearts tells me that you will eventually find this love at the end of this week, okay? So this is a weekly reading. So it could happen this week or next, but it's more this week, okay? As I'm doing the reading now. So Taurus Collective, you need to work on things, right? But at the end of the day and at the end of this week, I feel like there's going to be some kind of a, with your partner, this is love life, right? So with your partner, at least I'm going towards that direction right now and a bit ago. With your partner, there's going to be a compromisation, a willingness to reconnect again, maybe rekindle a little bit. But I'll tell you this, Taurus Collective, it may not last. It may not last a long term, okay? So you must continue to work consistently and constantly. It's not like I'm throwing the work at you, but if you want it to be improved and good, then that's what you do, okay? So closing down these cards right now, and I'm going to move on, going to be moving on to Gemini Collective, all right? Any questions, ask, call. We're going to be talking about shamanic illness in a bit. Go share the post to those that maybe even becoming a rising shaman, or maybe you are trying to get into your spiritual journey. We're going to be talking about that in a bit. But we are going to be doing Gemini Collective reading first. Gemini, this is for you. Go share, like, pay it forward, donate. And before I move forward, I'm going to share this. I have a book out there on Amazon.com, okay? The QR code is right there on the screen. If you don't want to donate, if you can't do that right now, if you can't do a personal reading for yourself right now, and you don't know how to pay it forward, you can go and purchase this book. That's all I ask. Purchase the book. It's going to do you good. If you want to know more about me, this is a memoir, and it's a teaching memoir, because then you'll learn lots of things in there about shamanism, life, death, the reincarnation, past lives type of things. This is where you go. Also, if you had NDEs or paranormal experiences, I talk about that with my experience in the book as well. Some experiences are there. So that QR code is I'm gonna just keep it up there for you guys to go on if you want to take a look there. Otherwise, you could look it up. The book is actually called Universal Laws of Mankind, and it's a memoir and shamanic aspect, available on Amazon.com. I believe it's also available on Barnes & Nobles as well. All right. But Amazon has been like the go-to place for the last couple of months here. So go there, go purchase the book, have a read of the book, and let me know what your review is on Amazon.com. For those of you that are listening and that has been loyal to the channel, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your loyalty and your subscriptions and your views. So everything that you've done, I appreciate, and my guides see you. Okay, we know who you are. And of course, there's going to be great abundance flowing to you regardless. Okay, so here we go. Gemini Collective. Oh my goodness gracious. We also get focus intention. Focus intention for Gemini Collective. Gemini Collective, that's for you. Listen up here, Gemini. We have the Four of Cups for you, Gemini Collective. Gemini, the first right off the bat, what I'm hearing is continue on, Gemini. Regardless of what had happened with your partner, your loved, this is a lover, more like love relationship. Gemini Collective, you need to move forward or move on. From a 0 to 10, we get the 8 of spades. From a 0 to 10, your energy on trying to move forward is about a 2, okay? Is about a 2. There is a need for focusing your intention right now, Gemini Collective. You need to start focusing in on really what it is that you want to show. Not want to do, but want to show. What is it that you want to show for others within the family or with your loved one? What is it that you want to show? Do you want to show them anything about yourself, your love for them, your care for them, your thoughts for them? You need to start showing, not talking, but showing. Okay, Gemini Collective? There's a need for show. There's a need for giving off the gestures, okay? Allowing yourself to just feel free within your skin. And you're not going to feel that way, Gemini Collective, until you get focused. Keep the unwavering thoughts out, okay? And start taking some kind of gestures and action that shows that you're focusing on family, that you're focusing on whether it's your partner, right? Wife, husband. What is it that you're focusing on? You need to show that in action, Gemini Collective. You need to start showing the action that you want to do, whatever it is that you want to do for them, that you love them, that you care for them, that you think about them. And you need to focus on that target. What is the target? What is the reason for showing, Gemini Collective? The reason for showing for you is really that you have been misunderstood too. You, just like Taurus, right? We just talked about being misunderstood. And perhaps you did do something. You did do something that may have been a little bit, mischievous. You may have done something that had been taken the wrong way. And now it's time for you to focus your intentions. And perhaps you didn't do something that should have been done. So then that's also heavy on your heart, that perhaps you regret something that you didn't do. So you need to come back to yourself, Gemini Collective, to focus your intention, to make your mark somehow. You need to make your mark, because if you don't make your mark, then someone else will, and you're going to be sad. You're going to be like, I should have done that. I thought about that. That should have been me. So Gemini Collective, you need to come and make your mark, make a stand. But it is somewhat justified, right? It's for justice, but it's more about to satisfy what you should have, could have, would have done, right? So Gemini, this week, I do get the Four of Cups for you as well. Four of Cups shows up for Gemini Collective, and I also get the Two of Cups, okay? This tells me that there needs to be some kind of talk, like this is a compromising talk, okay, a settlement talk. But then at the same time, through the talk, you need to show your intentions, show what you wanted to do. The Four of Cups also here, and the Two of Cups, lots of cups going on. That means emptying something that you maybe have had in your mind for a while, emptying that, letting that go to the side, opening up your mind, your heart, and accepting in some kind of a agreement, coming to some kind of agreement in this week. Okay, coming to some kind of agreement and focusing in on what you really need to get yourself to showing, because that's one of the lacks right now. The things that you lack right now, Gemini Collective, is that they need to see, the other person needs to see what you're trying to do. All is going to be at the end of the day, at the end of this week, right? Towards next week, there's going to be a fairness flowing out of the situation, whatever that situation may be. There's compromisation, and then there's going to be some kind of a agreement for agreement for fairness, to how to handle the fairness, right? How to handle this part that maybe had been misunderstood or disagreed upon. Now it's your chance, Gemini Collective. The ball is in your court, so to speak, and you can shift this whole picture into something that you can show that you are treating others fairly, and that you can also get that reciprocated to you fairly as well. Okay, that was for Gemini Collective. All right, if you guys have questions, type it in the comments below. P Yang 1122 says, my husband is a Gemini. He's so scattered brain right now. Yeah, yes, he needs to find a way to focus on what's next for personal and professional growth. Yes, thank you for so much for sharing, P Yang. All right. In this short break right now, I want to say that I'm appreciative and have gratitude for all of you that are watching right now, and those of you that continue to follow throughout the years. I've been out here since 2009, I believe, and it's been a while. And I would appreciate if you could go like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It is totally free to do so. If you've been following me for a while, I am trying to grow the channel to as many as possible and to get out to the masses, because I believe that the information that I'm sharing is truly needed in the world, and that it can make a change in someone's life just by hearing one thing and taking away one gold nugget from one of my videos. And so if you can share on Facebook, like and subscribe and follow, that would be great. All right. Warmest blessings to all of you. And we're going to go into what we are also going into this on this live. And this is going to be we're going to be talking about shamanic illnesses. How many of you have or think that you've gone through a shamanic illness? With a raise of hands, who has gone through, or that you think you've gone through, some kind of shamanic illness? I'll ask this now, and if I don't remember, let me know, but at the end I'll ask again after I've gone through it. How many of you, with a raise of hands, or maybe even just letting me know what kind of shamanic illness that you think that you've gone through, right? Because we're going to talk about that right now. And we're going to pan that out. I've got Noria, my Shanglor, right? So, West Loic. So those of you that are watching, don't be afraid to comment. No one's going to know who you really are. Unless you have a YouTube channel, then of course you want them to know who you are, right? So, what is... I see that we already got started here. Mai Shonglor says mental illnesses. Noria 8515 says cancer. Okay. What is? We also have Mali Vang raising hand. Come on. I know there's more of you out there with the raise of hands, or maybe you don't think that you've ever been through a shamanic illness. Then let us know so as well, right? But we're going to talk about that today, right now. And I want to answer the question, what is a shamanic illness? Because I know that around that question, it's been so up in the air. Like, what is it? What determines a shamanic illness? How many of you know what that is? Like, what determines a shamanic illness, right? In my shamanic perspective, a shamanic illness is any trivial imbalances. So it's a big imbalance that disrupts your life in general. It disrupts your body, how your blood and body fluid runs, because I always take a look at that. Your mind or mental awareness, your mind, basically. The spirit, so your soul, it affects your soul, your spirits. So we call it the spiritual fragments, right? It affects all this so profoundly that it impacts the individual to seek help and healing. It impacts you so bad that you throw your hands up and you're like, I need to seek healing. How many of you have done that? And if you haven't, then you need to, because this ain't going away in slang terms, right? It is not going to go away that easily. And some of it will stick to you for the rest of your life if you don't take care of it, if you don't face it. Simultaneously, by going through shamanic illnesses, right? During the time that it happens to you, and this can happen once or twice or 3 times, or it slows down and it never happens again, but it continues to stick with you and just lags, but it dies down eventually. And for very few, it actually continues to be constant and they can't get rid of it. So what happens simultaneously during you or individuals having shamanic illnesses? During this time, this encourages the individual to be called towards greater life purpose, something greater in your life. Like, you don't want to work for corporate anymore. The person doesn't want to work 9 to 5 anymore. They just want to heal. Heal, 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 heal. And I'll just say that 100 times, right? They just want to heal because it's that bad. And it encourages the individual to then be called towards greater life purpose, towards taking action, to seeking deeper wisdom on a mental, physical, and spiritual level. Okay? So that's what a shamanic illness is. Again, it doesn't happen only once. Now, sometimes for some individuals, it may happen one time, but very, very, very profoundly. Okay? It affects the individual like life situation. It can be a life-death situation that occurs. And this may only happen once, but this may also and can happen more than once, right? And then it may actually just all die down and it doesn't bother the person anymore. Or it continues on and it continues to cause chaos in your life. And then you have no idea where it came from. So, what can shamanic illnesses be? To my perspective, it can be a physical illness. So anything from cancer, headaches, things that hurt you and harm you physically. Physical illness, physical imbalance, right? Injuries, car accidents, right? That's a shamanic illness. If you continue to have the car accidents, not just once, twice, or 3 times, but it continues to happen over months and months and months, that's something, a red flag right there. If you continue to have migraines for years and years and years, and it never gets taken care of, then you start to think, oh, it's normal. I always have headaches. I always have migraines. That's what happens when you continue to just let it go, right? Let it ride. Let it continue to happen to you and hurt you. Then these shamanic illnesses continue to happen. Also, like stomach aches and things like that. For example, I had a ton of stomach aches, twisted stomach aches that were not very common or normal. And I went to the doctor. Doctor says, Are you having are you having a stomach ache now?" And I said, "No, but it still kind of hurts and lagging in my stomach, right?" So then they come to the fact that there isn't anything wrong. Maybe you just ate something, right? And then they give me Tylenol, and which doesn't really do anything much, right? Except for maybe covering up the pain or putting a band-aid over the pain. So not to speak badly about doctors at all. They're good for something, but in this case, in the shamanic illness cases, they don't know what it's about because it comes back, oh, maybe it's something you ate, just take Tylenol or ibuprofen. Oh, maybe the headache is just, you watching too much TV, or maybe just stressing out on homework, and then just take Tylenol or ibuprofen. It always ends up going back to Tylenol or ibuprofen or one of these antihistamines, right? So not bashing again on the companies that I just spoke about, but it's these medication that helps you to not feel the pain, right? To band-aid the pain. And so what happens is I don't take it. I go home and then I get healings from somebody, my grandmother, my dad, or my mom. Though my mom and dad was not shamans at the time, they still had shamanic um, ways that they practice from the elders. And then the elder, a grandma, right, came in and helped, right? So there was these, I always lived through shamanic illnesses and the healings of them. So it's nothing new to me. But for someone that just started to have shamanic illnesses, getting healing may be something big for you, that it's like a whole, like, do I trust the person? Or do I trust this family member? Sometimes you can't really trust the person that's trying to do healing on you, right? Even if they are an uncle or an aunt, especially if they may be a predator. And I've had that situation happen to a client as well, where the client's parents trusted an uncle, and it may have not been a real blood uncle, but it was an uncle, right? Because somehow in the Hmong culture, we're all related, right? Through last names. And so the uncle came and then, did inappropriate things. So you must find the right healer to get the right healing, okay? And at least one that you trust. So physical illnesses is a shamanic illness. Mental illnesses. Someone said mental illness, right? In the chat bar or in the comments. So mental illness, going from, maybe feeling like you're going a little bit crazy to maybe thinking that you are hallucinating. So anything like this without taking mushrooms, right? Just joking. So you don't have to take anything, and you may be feeling like you are hallucinating, or feeling like you're dreaming things up, or feeling like you're in a different space, a different time, a different dimension. So mental illnesses, or perhaps you are actually talking with spirit guides or spirit that don't guide. There's that too. You may be talking with spirit that do not guide, but they just come and go, and they come as they please because they want to talk to somebody. They want help, right? So you may be talking to various kinds of spirits that you have no idea who they are. They're not even related, but they come through, and then now you are able to talk to them. So mental illness, we call that, in the mainstream, it's called mental illness. In the spiritual world or the shamanic world, we just call it a shamanic illness. And then we also have, so we have physical illnesses, mental illnesses, and then we also have situational. Okay, so situations that happen to you and occur to your life that causes much hardship. For example, you may have a relationship that's very abusive. So you're going through abuse every single day, whether it's verbal abuse or physical abuse of some sort. You got the abuse from the abuser every single day or perhaps every week. It happens just often, 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 right? So that may cause you to either have a mental illness, and then you're also having physical illness now because you're injured, right? Mentally or physically, you're injured. And then, of course, going through something like verbal abuse is causing you to hear these negative words all the time, whether it's from parents or loved ones somehow. They and you are not getting along, but you are blood related. Perhaps it's somebody also out there that's related to you that has spread false rumors, and they just keep spreading these rumors. And they've betrayed you over and over again, and you've still trusted them, but then you get betrayed again. This, in fact, is also a shamanic illness. Now, it's a shamanic illness for the person that gets it, the person that receives, okay? At the same time, it can be a shamanic, it can be, but not always, but it can be a shamanic illness for the person that does it to you, okay? So it can be, but I'll say this, okay, that not all shamanic illnesses, okay, not all shamanic illnesses, or let's say not all illnesses, mental or physical illnesses, means that you're going to become a shaman. Not all situational, profound situational incidents means that you're going to become a shaman as well. So I want to disclose that, because for some of you, you're like, oh, well, then I got in multiple car crashes, I should be a shaman. No, not all the time that should be, right? It's not standardized. So you must be willing to go and find out. You must be willing to check, to do a reading, to get a spiritual diagnosis of some sort, so that you can know if that does mean that or does not mean that you're going to become a shaman of some sort or a unique healer. Or perhaps you need to start to understand what spirituality is, right? Because then we're going into the fact that, from my perspective at least, that when this happens once, twice, three times, or then it just dies way down and you don't feel anything anymore, right? At that point, if it dies down for some of you out there, even though it's truly profound, and you just kind of lose sight of it and it just doesn't really matter to you anymore, or you ignore it and you keep ignoring it and then it goes away, right? For some of you, it doesn't go away. It's constant or consistent. So when this strong, profound shamanic illness, this is the imbalance, remember, and it's trivial as well, because you have to kind of guess and see if you're going in the direction of a shaman or not. So that's the cue. This is the cue to listen and be coachable at the time. If you resist it, it will come back. If you resist it, it will fight you. You will fight it. Otherwise, the urgent feeling gets lost and eventually dies down until it happens or doesn't happen again in the lifetime that you live. So, from the perspective of many traditional shamanic cultures, there's several reasons why a person may actually experience what is interpreted as shamanic illness, right? But these are spiritual interpretations and explanations, and that rather than establish, medical explanations or anything like that. So we're not medical professionals here. We're not talking about the medical side of things, but we are really talking about the experiencing of things, the real firsthand experiencing of paranormal experiences, NDEs, illnesses, comas, something that is physically making you ill, or you got injured multiple times in that same spot, okay, on the body. Some of the commonly held shamanic perspectives is that these things happen because of a spiritual calling, that it's calling you to go serve a crowd of people or whoever it is. It's calling the person to go and serve them. And if you don't go and serve, because maybe that's part of your karmic cycle as well, For some people, it is karma to go and learn and then serve, right? You learn because it's karma and then you serve. So you can release that karma in that way. But for others, the more fewer percent is that they must serve and just go learn and serve, right? They just serve without it being actually karmic because they have the gifts and the abilities. The most widely recognized reason is that the individual is called towards this greater purpose, this greater life purpose, and it's a spiritual purpose. And this is where I am also seeing and predicting that our future is going towards this a ton. You know, I've said it back in 2011 on the vision for PaLiChee healing. And I'll say it again that this is the vision in the future that we are, the humankind is gearing towards, is moving towards this direction of spiritual purpose. No matter if you love your 9 to 5 job or you don't love it, you're still moving towards an awakening of spirituality and to actually practice it in a daily practice, a daily life, right? The other thing is that this is also, when you have shamanic illnesses, it's also a period of spiritual purification. You're getting purified by spiritual guides, by the universe, whatever that karmic situation is, it's purifying you so that you can allow the old or trauma or karma to start to let go of that, or at least to get yourself out of that. And almost like a, like, I don't want to say it, but it's like a snake, right? You're peeling off the skin, the dead skin, and allowing yourself to grow new skin by going to this spiritual purification. And for some of you, you do literally go through an initiation in spiritual purification if you are going to become a shaman or unique healer of some sort. Now, also, it's an invitation to heal generational or ancestral type of burdens, or we call it trauma, right? So with my shamanic perspective, this experience becomes an opportunity for you to bring the healing to the table, or bring yourself to forgiveness, or bring yourself to facing what these ancestral or generational types of trauma are. And then we find that out through life regression, okay, by diagnosing, spiritual diagnosis, so that you can know what that trauma is. Maybe you already have an idea because you've gone through, so much situational issues that you can maybe tell this is what the issue was in my generation, or my grandpa or my grandma or whoever else, right? Mom, dad, ancestral burdens, right? So you may be able to already tell what that is, but it gives you the opportunity to now seek it, to now find out, and then to know the root cause and to fix the root cause, or fix it from the root cause. So number 4, we're also learning humility throughout the whole time that you're going through your shamanic illness. You get humbled down. And if you don't believe me, it has to happen to you. You have to be the one to experience it firsthand, or at least you're seeing it secondhand too. That may humble you down. For some people, they can experience it firsthand, but it doesn't humble them down enough. So then they have to actually hit that wall another time and another time and another time until they get humbled way down, way down. At the same time, you're also trying to, even if you're not even trying, right? It's going towards a self-mastery type of energy where you're trying to master and develop your character, who you are, what you love, where you want to live, what you want to do, what is your life purpose, right? You're going into this section of your life that you're trying to self-master. But most of the people, the humankind, will need a sifu. They will need it. Regardless, if you have so much resources, it's still a need for a sifu. And if your resources are there, that's also your sifu, but you don't have a one-on-one, then you're still going to be lagging something regardless. Okay, lagging something regardless. You will still get to a potential, but maybe not your full potential is what I'm going to say as well. Unless you are self-taught by spirits. Okay. Number 5 is preparing the individual to help others. So going through shamanic illnesses helps the person to get prepared. So as you walk through profound sufferings, and you're suffering, you're hurting, your illnesses, your ailments, right, are hurting you, are feeling like they're harming you, it's also helping you to develop greater empathy for those that may have gone through it before you, and also greater wisdom as you go through it. Because why? You start to humble down, and once you do that, your mind is quieting down. You're not talking in your head, and you're not rebelling in your head anymore. You're now starting to open up. You're allowing your brain to open up, that gland, the pineal gland, right? So that you can, your soul is now able to teach. It's able to be heard. It wanted to be heard in the first place. That's why if you resisted something, or if you had not done, perhaps, I'll say it because it's in the book, if you had not learned from the laws of the universe and the etiquette, then it's going to humble you all the way down until you can empathize, until you are humble enough to go on your journey. As you go on your journey, you're humbling down, right? And then you start to understand the struggles of life, the real struggles of life. Not just, oh, I got to go to work. Not just, oh, for some of you, at least the younger ones, right? Younger generations. Not just, oh, I understand my parents have problems, but, so you are understanding what others are going through, their struggles, right? Once you get to understand someone else's struggle, and sometimes you may say, oh, I don't even understand my struggle, but you can understand their struggle, and then it helps you to reflect and understand your own struggles. Because sometimes it has to be looked at the reverse like this, so that you can understand completely. And then also, when you do get through the understanding part, the learning part and portion of your karma that you need to learn, then you start to be able to then serve, because you've gone through shamanic illness. Some people go to the black hole and back. I just went through a session today where 3 fragments of the soul went through to the black hole and back and almost didn't come back. And what does that mean? That means eventually this person may not live to their 120 years old days. So by gathering these fragments of the soul back, which is truly important, because that's what makes you up as a person living on a day-to-day basis. If those 3 fragments of the soul don't get back, and get back sooner than later, then there is going to be some kind of trauma or some kind of illness that may happen, and may already had been happening. Though doctors may not be able, but they may not be able to tell you exactly what's happening, right? From a shamanic perspective, I could tell you exactly what's happening on the spiritual end, on the spiritual perspective. And so when you understand these struggles, when you go through shamanic illnesses, such as the ones that we just talked about today, you start to humble down. You start to understand and empathize with other human beings. And when you do that, then the universe understands you. And you start to understand how the universe works, the laws of the universe, and how to behave, how to act, how to behave, how to be, the etiquette through moral, character, virtue, values, and love, and your own belief now, because you've gone through it firsthand, right? Or maybe some people have gone through it secondhand, and it still humbled them down. But it's always this firsthand that brings you to true spiritual seeking path, the shamanic path, or I call it the unique healer path, meaning that you then, because this shamanic illness is not going away anytime soon, you have to become a healer, or prone to become a healer because you need to heal yourself. You're not going to have, and you may, but you're not going to have the time, energy, and money to continue to go seeking for healing the whole life, your whole life. So you must become your own healer. Okay? That is why the true shamanic illnesses occur. It's not simply about experiencing unusual events or hardship like paranormal experiences. If you are experiencing, and I didn't say that one too. So paranormal experiences, if you are experiencing paranormal experiences day in and day out, and you keep hearing things or something keeps sleeping on top of your body as you sleep at night. I've had a client like that. So not just one, but there's a couple, but I won't say, right? And they've had, issues with sexuality as well. And they've had entities sleeping on top of them. If you're getting this most of your life, then that's a shamanic illness. Okay. If you're getting, you have to, for example, if there's noises in the home day in and day out, or even month in and month out, that's still too many paranormal experiences that you are going through. It's crossing your path. So that is a shamanic illness. Some may be more than others, or more heavier than others on the frequency, right? So what happens? So experiencing these unusual events causes and these hardships, right? It's about what the experiences produce within you. What does it produce within your body, within your mind, within your soul, within your heart? Is it changing you or is it not? Are you getting it or are you not, right? And it will continue to occur if you don't, or if you don't submit yourself to the healing, the help. Then it will continue unless something drastically happens differently. And boom, let's say, for example, someone gets truly injured, they lost a leg, they got it severed off. There was a client like that. They got their leg severed off because of an illness to the leg. So now what happens? That shamanic illness might go away, or it might still lag there and be sort of still there, but not as heavy frequency as before, right? So that can happen, right? So the greatest sign of initiation is not extraordinary experiences that you're trying to, how do I say, induce. You're not trying to induce anything. It just happens naturally. And it's also the transformation of your heart. Like, how does your heart transform during this whole time? Are you able to improve your living situation, your life, the partner you're with? Are you able to improve connections, communication with them? Are you able to improve communication, connections with your loved ones, your family, your intermediate family, or others that are around you? At least the ones that can forgive you or that you can forgive. So it all goes back to love. It always goes back to good morals, good moral character, virtue, values, and of course, the universal truth. If you can live in your truth, and you can also accept somebody else's truth, but you can live to as close as you can to the universal truth, not your truth or their truth, but as close as you can to the universal truth, then this is telling you that the shamanic illness is starting to really die down, and that you are then really healing the different levels and layers that you've gone through, whether it's this lifetime or many other lifetimes before, so that when after this lifetime that you know of, after this lifetime, then you're able to transcend into something higher of being. Okay. I've been going on for a while. Just reading in the comments right now. I just want to take a small break right here. If there's no call-ins, I mean, if you can call in quickly here, we're over the 10 minutes at the hour. But I do want to point out to the book, if you guys have gone through some Shamanic illnesses, you want to read that book. It's going to help more than anything. If you are able to relay or relate or resonate with shamanic illnesses, then that's something that is good for you, and that you can then start to seek what is and can be sought. If you cannot relate to shamanic illnesses as of yet, then you're not there yet with shamanic illnesses, or perhaps you're not conscious to it yet, and it will continue to start being more conscious in your life as you go through it. Now, shamanic illnesses. Now, for those of you that maybe are like, you're like, oh, I'm not shaman, I'm Christian, or I'm Catholic, or I'm, something else. You believe in some other thing. Well, that's not a problem, because shamanism is not a religion. And shamanic illness is just a word to explain an illness that you or I or anybody else. Now, I'll say that those that can see in the spirit world can explain, but for a normal person that cannot tap into their gifted abilities yet, may not be able to explain what it is. Okay? So, it's all about the learning process. It's all about the karmic cycle at the same time. And I'll say that I've heard somebody else, I've saw somebody else, and they wrote it under a post that says that shamanic illness is a mental issue or mental illness. And of course it's a mental illness, right? But what are mental illnesses? Is it a bad thing? Or is it not? A mental illness, that's like, it's been looked upon as like a bad word, like it's somebody has an issue. And they may, there could be the ones that they go into a deep chronic or critical issues with mental illness because they haven't been helped and nothing has been done to help and heal them. So that's why they go very, very deep into that mental issue or illness. But when it starts, that's when they need the help the most. Don't wait till the end, and then it's really hard to get the healing and help. But anything is possible in the shamanic aspect. All right. Questions? Miss L. Vang says, are you able to tell me why in the last few years I keep getting minor injuries on my left side? So, how you're asking, Miss L. Vang, I could minor injuries on the left side. So that's definitely a shamanic illness. Okay. It's a shamanic illness. If it keeps coming to that left side, there's some kind of imbalance on that side, Miss Elving. Okay. There's definitely some kind of a lower vibration going towards that side. And there seems to be something that could have happened to you as a kid that's lagging or latched onto that left side. So that would be something that I would refer you more towards a spiritual diagnosis, a deeper diagnosis, than to just plain out respond to your question. And I'll say this as well. When you ask a shaman a question, or if you have a question for a reading so that you can benefit from the reading, you'll want to ask it with etiquette. And if you haven't or don't know about the etiquette, there is the etiquette video out there. I think I've talked many times about it as well. So start to learn the etiquette. If you've been hurting on certain areas in your body, or you've got injured in certain areas of your body, you'll want to start to, if you humbled down throughout the years, then you start to understand, how do I ask the question? Because it's all about how you ask the question that you'll also receive the answer that you've been looking for as well. But for you, Miss Elving, I would say that maybe schedule a spiritual diagnosis. We also have White Eagle High Mountain and the other independent consultants. So White Eagle High Mountain and Nsaika Shikashaw that could do, uh, consultations for you as well. I also do a consultation as well, but theirs is a free consultation. Mine would be a paid consultation if you go on to www.falithehealing.com. But for sure, I'm feeling right off the bat, it's something that happened on that left side, that latched onto that left side of you, Miss Elving, that isn't going away. So this is something that needs to be taken care of. Otherwise, there could be, something deeper. Happening to that left side as you age, okay? If not already. So that's what we have. Let's see here. We have a question. I'm going to go in a bit here. I should be gone by now, but I care about these questions. So, another way, Noria says, another way I see is what I can learn from this person. Yes, sometimes we need to experience things for ourselves to learn certain lessons, but most we can learn from looking at others. You can learn from looking at others or watching or maybe experiencing secondhand, like I said. But always that first hand, like for example, Miss L has gotten injuries on her left side and for many times it seems like so there needs to be a willingness to go and check it out. It takes so many times. For some people it may take 1 to 2 times, and for others it's like 10 times, and you're like, okay, yeah, I'll go in and check it out, right? And take a look at what's going on, right? So that's what needs to happen, is to take it seriously before it gets serious, okay? More serious than it is. So you're welcome, West Loic. It is good that you have your wisdom is so wonderful and here to feel. Thank you to hear and feel. So I'm going to leave it at this. Go share, like, subscribe, follow along on whether it's Facebook or YouTube. You guys know what to do. You guys know where I'm at, and also our independent consultants. It is in the description below, and I will also leave the timestamps. We'll do new timestamps. I don't have anything there right now, but once this gets done, then you'll see the timestamps below. Warmest blessings, and talk soon. Bye-bye.